Good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. All right, I think everything is looking good. Uh, Good morning, Bear Duda and Richard Me 123. All right, I think I got everything set up all over the place. I guess I could just quit Discord and Slack just in case they try to give me any notifications. Let's take a look at where we are at, because we've got no errors, which means we should be able to actually run this thing. Right, yeah, okay, so we got the basic everything started. What we're missing now is this. I don't even know what to necessarily call it. It's a sprite sheet, I guess, which is going to be our flame, as it sort of like dances and moves around. And those are going to be the things that we drop down onto the ground here. Now, what I need to do is turn this into an actual sprite sheet, which right now it's just an image, so I'm displaying the entire thing. But there is a way, and I want to display it down here. There is a way to, let's see, what is it called? It's a, I don't think it's a sprite sheet, it's a sprite something. We go to sprites here. Let's see, graphics, image, sprite batch. That's what it is. So we're going to want to create a brand new sprite batch. Is there a capital S sprite batch? No? Okay, so a sprite batch is an efficient way to draw a large number of copies of the same image or part of the same image. So I think that's the key there, is it's part of the same image. So I'm going to want to create a sprite batch for that image and then chop it up into those 4 little pieces. And then I can loop through those 4 pieces. Also fun, super slow in debug mode, but gets decently fast in release mode. Is that the correct format? I think so. It's either with the hash or without. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's basically whatever color you set yourself in chat. So I guess I could try it. I can't remember if the hash is appropriate or not. Or you could just use the gear icon. Yep. Chat. Actually, I don't know if I have the ability to do that. Switch to non-mod settings. Oh, here it is. You can then set your color this way. So what is that? That's identity and then your color. All right, so I don't want you to be an image anymore. I want you to be a sprite sheet, sprite batch. So let's say equals sprite batch. Oh, okay, I see it. So you're going to be a new thing. Okay, so sprite batch. I want to create a new sprite batch. Oh, okay, so it takes an image, takes ownership of the image, but cloning an image is cheap. So here's our raw fire image. So fire, then we can just shadow this, I suppose, and turn it into a sprite batch. So we're going to give you fire like that. Now, what are we going to do with you? We want to now cut you up into smaller bits. I don't think I'm going to be able to store you away. So you're going to be a sprite batch now. I don't think that everything else will just work as is. Because I don't think sprite batch can just draw, or can it? Yeah, no, it can't. So this is no longer drawing. Let's figure out how to chop it up into small pieces. Oh, I don't have my browser open. I should probably build the local documents so I could just go and open those. They always take forever to build though, and so that's why I keep on like not doing them. I want to go to documentation and sprite batch. Okay, so we have news that creates a new sprite batch. Adds a new sprite to the sprite batch, which takes a param, returns a handle with which to modify the sprite using set. And then we can say set here. Okay, so it returns a handle to us when we do this, and then we can use that to alter a sprite in a sprite batch using the given drop params. And then how do we get access to all the images? Okay, so drawable is implemented for it, so I can theoretically draw it. Oh, okay. Replaces the contained image. No, I don't want to replace the contained image into, and I don't need that. And it uses drop params here. Oh, am I gonna need to just like constantly set these ourselves? Or am I gonna want to do, I don't want to draw them. I want to add. I guess I'm just gonna need to, is there a get? I don't see like a get. Okay, so there is this we could call draw on it to sort of maybe set that. So let's try a set on it first. I guess add. We'll try adding one of these. Okay, so fire.add. This takes a draw param. So we can create a new default draw param, and just sort of see what that does. And then we already know that we're trying to draw the entire fire, so sprite badge. So let's try this, see what happens. Okay, so that's drawing the entire thing here. So that makes sense. If I now tell draw param, what can I do with that? Rizix, good morning. Do we have a list? Here it is, draw param. Okay, we have source. A portion of the drawable to clip as a fraction of the whole image. Okay, so SRC, which takes a rect. All right. So let's do our our rect to display. So we need a rectangle now. Let's say that we want to go from like 0 to 0, 0 to 0, and then the width is, I actually don't know off the top of my head. So not that resources, it's these resources. Here's this flame. Can I get information about this? Properties maybe. Okay, the dimensions, it's 104 pixels by 26 pixels. My guess is it's a squares, essentially. So 26 down and then 26 to the right. And it looks like it goes all the way to the edge. So let's try a 26 by 26. So that means the width is going to be 26.0 and a height is going to be 26.0. And then .src is going to be rect to display. Okay, so if I add that and then I display, what happens? Oh, well, that's not exactly what I was expecting to see. So our fire is now leaking. So I was trying to do that in like 26 pixels width. Okay, so that was interesting. Do I need to do that 4 times? Let's see, rotation, scale, offset, color. I don't think there's anything else I need. If I add this 4 more times, like let's say I add a second one. Okay, and if I add another one of these, and this time I say that I'm going to start from 26.0, 0.0, and my width is still 26, my height is still 26. What happens to you? I don't really see a difference there. These columns coming down seem to getting smaller and smaller as they go down, but I'm definitely trying to make this a square, right? Have any of you worked with sprite batches before? Is there something I'm clearly doing wrong with this? I mean, clearly there is something I'm doing wrong with it, but is there something obvious that I'm doing wrong? Like, do I need to loop through the sprite batch? Or maybe like store these away to sort of like get? Is there a get? Yes, this is GGEZ. So there's a filter. Get the filter mode for the sprite batch. I don't know if that helps. So alters a sprite in a sprite batch to use the give and draw commands. Are there any good? I mean, so what I see here is, let's go back to sprite batch. I don't see any examples of it being used. Okay, so sprite batch just kind of queues up a bunch of locations to draw a sprite, it looks like. Okay, so I'm not doing this correct then. So if I want like a bunch, so it's not actually like a sprite sheet where I want to like have a single sprite sheet in a single file and then like grabbing that out. It sounds like it's actually, okay, so hold on. If I bring you back to image again, if I bring you back to images, we get rid of all of you. And in my main library, where I'm doing this draw, see here's images fire. Okay, so if I do draw param new, so let's start by running this. See here's all 4 of these. If I do a .src, a source is going to be our rectangle, so this is going to be a graphics rect new. Let's start with 0.0, 0.0, 26.0. Okay, so if I do this, maybe it's only going to display the first of the little fire circles. No. Exactly the same thing. So sounds like drop params. Yeah, so here's what I'm doing. We do graphics draw. We have our drawable, which is the fire, and this is an image. So like in sprites.fire, which is a type image. So I'm not using a sprite batch anymore. Then graphics draw param new. So we create a new draw param, and then I'm using source, which I thought would allow me to set what portion of the image to look at and see. That may be the sort correct in a sprite sheet. So source is maybe not correct then. If I do dot, what else can I do on here? I don't want to do destination. Let's go take a look at draw param. So here's source. A portion of the drawable to clip as a fraction of the whole. Oh. Defaults to the whole image 0, 0 to 1, 1. It's a fraction. It's only between 0 and 1. Oh, okay. So that's a big deal. Let's open up our calculator. So we know that it's do I still have properties? This is, the height is 26 pixels. So I want 100% going up and down. Oh, weird. Source is a rect. But a rect has like these. Oh, I probably want to do this fraction then. What? Oh my gosh, they have... I didn't even notice they have an overlaps. They have collision detection built in here. We can use that if I store the rect properly. Okay, so, well, the piece is to make collision detection. Yes, absolutely. Fraction creates a new rect, a la love2d's love.graphics.newquad as a fraction of the reference's rect size. So this takes in x, y, width, and height, and a reference, which is a reference to another rect. I don't know if that helps. Let's say I just create a new rectangle. Here. We're going to start with 0 and 0, and then the width, I think, is going to be our fraction part. So I think I want the width to be, I could do math here. So we know it's 26 pixels divided by 4, because there's 4 of them. And then height, I want this to be 1.0. Right, but I don't want the whole sprite. I want to chop it up into little bits. Now, if I do that, you're upset because oh, double dots. All right, so let's try this. See, it shows all of these still. And I want just one of them. What's 26 divided by 4? Did I do that wrong? Should it be 4 divided by 26? Yeah, let's try Yeah, okay. 4 divided by 26. Okay, closer. I cut off. I mean, that doesn't feel like it's quite in the middle. What's the entire width of this thing? Properties, details. It's 104 pixels width. So I really want to like divide it by 4, like 104 divided by 4. Okay, or not. Or wait, is it 26 divided by 104? And so that way, yeah, okay. Oh wait, 1/4. Although this seems to have done it. I only see one there. But yeah, 1/4 is can I just do 0.25? Would that also work? Yeah, okay. But I think that's the maybe better way to do it is we know the number of sprites that we have in this sprite sheet is going to be that's going to be equal to, we're going to take the entire width of the full image, and we're going to divide, and then that should give us the full sprites. Because some of these I might have like way more in the future. So for example, if I open up my assets storage, as it loads. For example, I added these in last night. Here's some explosions. This sprite sheet is significantly bigger. It has... how many of these are there? It won't let me. This is what it looks like. So... I think these must be included down here, so like absolutely nothing. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 by 6. Which is cool if I want some kind of like explosion. But we're not guaranteed to have like a row of 1, like a single row. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of math to figure this out. Says you go over there. Okay. That being said, I think what we're going to end up wanting to do is like create these, make this a sprite. So it's not going to store all the sprites. Instead, we're going to want to store, like to create multiple of these. So we're going to have like our image that is stored inside of here. When we create this, we're going to pull in the path, which is probably going to be a static str. Which then we can use right here. we're going to return a game result with a sprite. And we'll change you to be an image. Okay, so we store the image away normally, at which point we also need to store the entire width of this like sprite sheet and the height. Although we can get that for free essentially every time that we need to do the calculations on image. So I don't know if we need to like fully store it here, but we also like probably might as well. Because I don't necessarily know if I want to have to call that function every single time that we do this. Then we're going to have our different recs. That's probably all we really care about, right? Is a vector of rectangles for us to like loop through and see. So let's say if I do this is all, we probably don't want these to be public anymore. We probably want this, so this is going to be the I don't know what to call this. This is going to be like the subsections, the individual sprites. The individual sprites recs. So I'm actually going to make this a vector of rect. So we're also going to need to take in how many across and how many down do we have. So sprites across. This could be like a probably U8. Sprites down is a U8. Is it just you, or can you not see our screen? Yes, that seems to be everyone. I accidentally clicked on VirtualBox, which I didn't have VirtualBox running, so that would do it. The negatives of me not running in studio mode in OBS. Sorry about that, everyone. And thank you, Alex Clark Games, for calling that out. All right, so we grid the number of sprites across, and then we get the sprites down. How's the progress on a game? I'm figuring out sprites now, so I can display each individual sprite to the screen, which will be interesting. I haven't actually done like a sprite sheet before. I've always just done individual images, which were cut up previous, but it's a lot better to have a single image and just like display little pieces of that image over and over again. At least from everything that I've like talked to other game developers about. So now I want to create a rectangle of these recs essentially. So we're gonna say individual sprite recs equals a brand new vector. And then I want to essentially do a double loop through this, but this only needs to be like a single I don't know what the word like left me. I don't need single dimension. I don't need this to be like, you know, a multi-dimensional array. Just a flat array is probably fine, because we're just going to loop through this for each of the images in this sprite sheet. And of course, how we're going to start is kind of important too. So with this fire, I honestly can't tell if there's like a start or an end that's like supposed to be here. Let's just say that we start at the left and we move to the right. So if I start to the left here, I'll bring you over there. And now we can sort of review how this is gonna go. I want to loop through the number of times of this. So that's gonna be R. For, this is gonna be like our count in 0 ... sprites across. Okay, so that's gonna give us the kind of like the index of this essentially, the sprite sheet index. And that can use this to multiply when creating that the source, like the initial document. So we want to create the rect. The x and the y is where we're starting with this. So we know at the beginning we're starting at 0, 0, but the next one is going to be like 26, 0. Well, what does that mean? That means we take our x count. So really this is the x index. Take that and multiply that based upon the size of the width of the entire sprite sheet. So let's okay, so now I have the, wait, you're a rect? Returns the dimensions of the image. What else do I have here? Width and height is also I can get. Let's do image width equals image dot width. Okay, so it gives me a U16. Interesting. I wonder if I'm going to want to change all these to U16s instead of U8s. For our x position, we want to take our x index and multiply this with the image width. And then convert that all to an F32. So let's make U16s to match up. So you'll be happy here, and then we'll convert you. To an F32. All right. Now the Y. We want to do the exact same thing, which means we need an inner loop. Do you want to loop on top of this or inside of this? Probably like I want to start here, go all the way across, then go down one and go all the way across. So we need the Y index first. So for so then in U, we're going to have our Y index times image. Oh, we need the image height now. Okay, that gives us our y-index. Now our width is, we only really need to do this calculation once. We shouldn't need to do it multiple times. So this is going to be like the percentage or a fraction of the width. So this is basically single sprite fraction. That's and that's gonna be our width. So single sprite width fraction, and that's gonna be our. And if we remember correctly, it was like 26 divided by the entire length of actually it's like 4 divided by the size. Okay, we have the number of sprites across. If we took, what was our calculator? 4 divided by, what was the number? It was 104. 0.3, so that's not right. It was something like 26 divided by 104. That gave me 0.25. Oh, 104 divided by 4, the opposite way. Okay, so let's do 104 divided by 4. That gave me 26, and then I can do 26 divided by 104. Okay, so if I don't know what that is ahead of time, I need to do, let's see. Before this, we already have the count across, but we need the size, like the width of each sprite. So, single sprite width equals, this is going to be our full size. So image width divided by sprites across. But I need this to be a good fraction, and these are U16s. I probably want to convert this into, is that true? Or just do this, and it gives me a U16. Then I can take this and divide it by the entire width to get like what the percentage is. So then this is going to be probably converted to F32 when I do this. So single sprite width as F32 divided by image width as F32. Then I can use that here. So single sprite fraction with fraction is that. And then, okay, we have the height. So exactly the same thing. And we'll use that. Okay, so we create a rect, and then we're going to push this rect inside into the array of these erects. So you need to be mutable. and then we'll publish these down. Now when I draw, there's a weird reverberation or noise sound from my mic that you haven't heard before. Is that happening to anybody else? If it's happening to anybody else, let me know, and I can take a look. Also try to be very like smooth with my talking, so I don't like shout out or go down. All right. Thank you, Fire Bear, and Vampy. Okay, individual, sprite Rex. So now if I have a draw on here, so I would need to take this as like a mute self, and I would need to have like the context. Let me try turning the music down in my speaker, which is behind my microphone, but I have the microphone set to like not pay attention to what's behind it. But maybe it's being caught anyways by that. So I turn that way down. Okay, so if I draw this, let's say we only draw like the first thing. And we're gonna return a game result. And let's do graphics. You have 22 tabs open. Oh, I'm not a huge tab person. I usually I try to close them at the end of every day, and actually between each little ticket or something that I'm working on. But like my manager, for example, has multiple browser windows and just hundreds of tabs. It's insane. And he constantly adds more because he can't find anything. Okay, so let's add in a context. Our drawable, this is gonna be our self.image. And then our params. So, yeah, it's a bad cycle. I don't think I'm playing. Let's see. My preview is muted, and I don't have any other windows to me open in a browser. So I don't think I'm playing myself. Plus, also, if you heard, it would be like a pretty big delay. Let's see. So self.image. Then okay. So it's gonna be our drop params. So let's do the basics. New. So if we start with this. Graphics isn't here. All right. Also, sprite batch, you weren't helpful. You go away. Self.image. You be a reference to the self.image. Okay, so I think that's good. We need to make the new work, store the sprite away. So you're going to be singular sprite. So let's store this as like the fire sprite, which means you're now going to be fire sprite equals sprite new, and you want the context. You want the path from where this is in. And so we remember that this is / large flame. Okay, so the number of sprites across, remember that's 4, and the sprites down is 1, and that should be it. then we store this. And then down here in draw, I believe that we can just do self.firesprite.draw. Like that. All right, no errors. Let's see if we just get all 4 of the images showing. Okay, we do. Okay, so all 4 of those are showing. Now, I want this fire sprite to only show maybe like the first item inside of here. So we're gonna do .src, and it's gonna be self.individual sprites rex of position 0. Change music station. Do you have a preference, Bear? Hey, look at that. We got the first. Let me go ahead and find you. We're in chill. Let's go to chiptune. And I noticed this thing, I can now mark that as done. Oh, it doesn't show in chat for all of you. Okay. Okay, so if I want to now loop through these, and so every single frame, I want a different one. So what would that end up looking like? We're gonna want you to have individual sprite recs. This is gonna be like which index we're in. So rect index. Do we really know? I guess this is gonna have to be a U16. Because theoretically we would probably want to match what's coming in here, just in case like we have actually if it could be like U16 and U16, I mean realistically I don't think this will be over a U8. We're gonna start with a 0. Let rect index and so I can say that you are going to be a self.rect index, but every time that I draw this, what are you upset about? Cannot be indexed by U8. Okay, so it must be a U size. All right, you're a U size. Every time we draw, let's increment. So self.rect index plus equals to 1. Now, this will not work too well for us, because if we now increment over the width of our individual recs, sprite recs. So after we increment, if self.rect index, if that's now equal to individual sprite recs dot length, then self.rect index, set that equal to 0. Rect index is usize, wrap return, an expression. I'm not trying to return you. Oh, I need to return an OK. Now that you're not the only thing in this file. And question mark. All right, so that gives me, this is now going to be every frame it loops through this, which is potentially going to be a little bit too fast. But let's go ahead and try it. So yeah, that's it flashing as it going back and forth. It's really hard to sort of see like what that is. Let's now limit our frame rate to 60 frames per second. We can do that in the main library here. So let's actually just set what our frames per second is going to be here. Frame rate, target. I think this can be just U8. I'm going to make this 64, 60. And then frame rate target. And then we can do that here with, there's a timer. So there's a timer. Check update time. Let's see. The intention is to be called in a while loop in your update callback. Okay, so I want that. Check update time. We hand the context and our target frames per second. So that's going to be our self dot frame rate target. This returns true or false, I believe. So we're going to do, I think it's a while loop. It actually has a suggested use here. Yeah, while timer check update time, and then we do you. You need, okay, expected a U32, found a U8. Okay, well, apparently you need to be a U32. All right, so we have that. That should slow it down a little bit. Let's see what it looks like now. Still a little bit fast. Oh, you know why? It's because the draw isn't affected by that. All that's doing is updating the I'm doing the let's see. I'm running the updates at a slower amount, not the draws. Because here, what I probably want to do is have in update, have it do its increment. So on Windows, if you sleep for 1 nano a micro, you end up with a 16 milliseconds or so sleep by default. Probably some like binary math type problem or like sleep cycles weirdness. Let's actually create a function in here, update. So it probably feels a little bit weird to have like an update inside of just something that's going to be drawn out. But the reason for that is I'm going to be able to do this here. Increase our index by 1, reset and like clamp that down. Back to here, we can now return you again. And you just get done. So now update can be called inside of here. And then down here, we just call the draw. Let's see. or just run with VSync on. VSync, like for some reason, VSync was limiting myself to like 30 frames per second. I mean, which may not be a huge problem. It's just something to be aware of. But let's see. Oh, right, and everything does sleeps differently. I remember you mentioning that. Right, my monitor can handle 60 plus frames per second because other games, when I turn VSync on, they have like a different amount. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Or maybe not. Like maybe I don't do VSync very often, and I just forget. We could turn that on if we really want to. So here you are running this. What I probably want to do is, now that we're limiting ourselves this way, in our update, we want to slow ourselves down. So we like switch to the next sprite, but only after a certain amount of like time has elapsed. So we have our rect index. We probably want to start with like the next time to sleep for the 1 nano a micro and get close enough. The only problem here is I don't necessarily want to I'm using the GGEZ sleep sort of that's behind the scenes. So it's doing its thing, and I think that's fine. So I can get like the ticks, and I can basically use the tick count to determine when to switch sprites. So for example, here in update, I could take in the timer. I can take in the ticks, which I want to say is a U64, but it might even be a 128. If you're busy looping an update for 60 frames per second, then a sleep 1 will work. You'll just notice less FPS in Windows by default. Well, I don't want the sleep to hit everything else. Usually it's an elapsed time variable that you pass around. Again, the time slice thing, yeah. If I had the ticks and I like, hey, the next tips, but elapsed time, yeah, that might be. Well, so there's an elapsed time from timer, so I can get that. So I can do something like timer. Let's see, check update time. Not that. So there's ticks, the number of times we've gone through the event loop. Time since start is the time since like the beginning of the game. So that might be something good for us. That gives us a duration. And so then I can take time since start, give ourselves a context. And actually just throw this directly in here. This is gonna be time since start, and it's a duration. Which I think is a standard time duration. Then we want to check to see, like, we want to store when the next time we want to change is. So this is probably going to be something like next time to change, which is that going to be a duration? I think it's going to be a duration. So let's actually just bring in if we want to create our initial duration here, next time to change equals a duration from like milliseconds. I want to do this as like maybe every 250 milliseconds, so like 250. Like that, and then we'll store you away. Then here in update, instead of just blindly doing this, we'll check to see if we've reached the next time to update. So if time since start, if that's now greater than or equal to self dot next time to change, then go ahead and do this. But also set the next time to change. So time change equals time since start plus, well, this is going to have to be our, we're also going to have to store in like the chain, like check at, like, not next time to change, but index change duration. It's gonna be a duration, and it's pretty much gonna be this. So index change duration. Okay, so then we add those in there. And that allows us to, so it resets that, and now we just know we're gonna go on. Otherwise, we just don't do anything at all. So if we do this, we have no errors, we're passing in the durations. Let's see what it looks like. Well, I mean, it's flashing slowly. That's not exactly what I wanted. I was kind of hoping for like a smoother process of like going in. I'm curious, like why is that showing the wrong thing for us? It's maybe like debug. So rect index is increasing, and then we're also like setting, okay, if we reach the length of this, we go back to 0 again. The 250 is probably fine. That's like a quarter of a second or so. I wonder if these are properly like displaying for us. So maybe let's actually display. We know that there's all like 4 of these. When we draw this out, let's try drawing like all 4 just manually in the proper spot. So I guess first of all, let's debug. Not here. Okay, let's debug the reference to the individual sprite recs and make sure that we have like that these look correct. Oh, you need to be drawn. Okay, so we have 4 of them. So 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, that doesn't look right. I want, okay, so this needs to go up by like 26 instead of like 104. So it's fully just going to nothing at all. The width is 0 to, okay, so the width and height are all correct, but the x's, the y's are correct too, but the x's are not when we create these. So I have x index times the image width. I really want to do like 0. Let's see. Oh, I want that percentage of the image width, or like the 26. What's the 26th? Single sprite width. That's probably what I want to do. Is do something like that. Single sprite height. Still getting like that flashing, but it's happening a little bit faster now. What do we got? 0, so 26, 52, 78. That seems correct now. Zero, so let's see, the y is that, and then the width and the height. I want to say that those are correct now. When we go to draw this, if I draw you 4 times in a row, and let's say we draw you with 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then we need to destination you over just a little bit each time. So dest. It's gonna be a point. There's no point. 0.2 new. Let's just bring it over to the right a little bit. So we're gonna bring like I don't know, we'll just do like 50, 50.0, 0.0. So you're 50, you can be 100, and you can be 150. So save you. A couple errors. Mismatch types. Let's see, am I drawing question marks? Oh, at the end here, we just return you. Okay, so the rest of these are not drawing. Just the first one, which kind of makes sense. We're not getting anything else out of here. So if I want you to draw, our source is going to be self.individual sprite sheets of position 1, and can I... So position 1, x is going to be 26, the y is going to be 0, and the width is going to be 0.25, and the height is going to be 1. So I think that's correct. Clearly not for this. If I want to like shift over and do like the second one over, does this also need to be a percentage? So like, do you need to be 25%? And then like 75%. Let's try that. So in our source, let's actually make our new rect here. So I want you to be 0.25, 0.0, 0.25, 1.0. That one needs to be a percentage too. Okay, so that's good to know. Everything needs to be percentage, so we're not starting with like actual pixels over. We're doing everything as a percentage. So we already have this single sprite with fraction, so I want to multiply you as, I think that, with fraction. And then height fraction. So if I do that, I don't want to make you back to self dot individual sprite rex of position 1 again. Let's see, what are you? You're an F32 and you are a U16. So as F32. And if I, okay, so if I do that, we don't need you at all. Which means we also don't need you in these parentheses. Like that, okay. That makes you all happy. Let's see if this all now shows up. They do, okay, they finally do. So then we're gonna come into our draw. And we're gonna use self dot the index, rect index. There we go. And now we have our sprite that's actually like looking appropriate for this. And then I would want to create, like, put this over inside of here to show, like, okay, that's going to be the fire. Like, this is going to be the fire that you drop wherever it is. So that's going to be pretty cool. We can change the speed of that and make it a little bit faster with this. If I actually increase you, so time to next change can actually be a clone of index to change duration. Then I only have one place to change it. So you can be maybe like 100. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so it is 8:19, so it's reaching towards the end of my normal stream time in the morning before I have to go to work. Next time, what we're gonna end up doing is creating a game object. We'll have to like give it the image or the sprite that it's gonna have. So probably have to like create a customized draw system for it, so that we can hand it that this like image, this sprite image, and then give it a location of over here, and then have that update and draw out to the screen. So I think we're gonna do that next time. But what we did this time, which is pretty cool, I think, is this is 4 images. So it's actually a single image made up of 4 images, as we can see right here. chopped it up. Like we have 4 rectangles that display like where we want of this image to display. And then we just loop through them at every 100 milliseconds to change which one we're looking at. And then display that out here. And so we get a little bit of animation going, which is actually really cool and neat. So next time, looking forward to that, we'll be placing this over here as an actual game entity. So I'm gonna go ahead and push all this code up before I forget. All right, so we created and animated flame or fire. Push that on up. I have a link to all this with Bang repo. I did fix this last night, so I just put a space between the dot and the link. So now if you click on that, it actually does take you to the real repo and doesn't make you remove that dot on your own. Which that was like fun. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the ending screen. All right, and then who is streaming? Let me take a look at the Rust team here. Just me. Okay, well, in that case, I think we're going to leave it for the day. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and watching. I think we made a little bit of good progress on getting like this animation and getting the flames going in. I haven't worked with sprite sheets before, so I'm actually really happy that now we have a pattern that we can use for these in the future. And with that, have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow morning back at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. All right. Bye, everyone.